Wow.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I rise to support the National Electricity Victoria Amendment VicGrid Stage 2 Reform Bill of 2025. And I follow, of course, the member for Lowen. And just when you thought the member for Lowen couldn't get any lower, I just continue to be dumbfounded. The allegations around we on this side of the House wanting the state to burn, our forests to burn. I've been in this place, only since November 22, but that's one of the lowest comments I've ever heard thrown across this side of the chamber that she should hang her head in shame for. Her accusations around the member for Ripon. The member for Ripon is a friend of mine, one of the hardest working, diligent advocates for her community, who secures real outcomes, not just talk, doesn't fearmonger, but works to bring people together and secure outcomes for her community. That's what the member for Ripon and we on this side of the House are all about. The member for Lowen, I note, also took up her full 10 minutes of time on speaking. I thought we had an understanding across the chamber here that we'd be sticking to 5 minutes or so, which I certainly will, to give other members time. But the member for Lowen's full take-up of the 10 minutes, along with the Liberals wasting time earlier today through that disgraceful procedural motion earlier today that wasted time upon time that we could have had towards this debate. They stand to be condemned for why time has been limited towards the end of this afternoon. I rise to support the bill, Acting Speaker, because it's about real action on climate change. And if the member for Lowen and the Nationals actually wanted to genuinely support their farming and agriculture community, they would also support action on climate change, because we know to take action on climate change means that we are combating less extreme weather events, bushfires, floods, droughts. This is all being generated, the science is telling us, because of the increase and intensification of carbon emissions. The less carbon emissions we have, the better it is for the environment and for our sustainability and for climate change. It's a bill that progresses our action on renewable energy, and it's a bill that no one opposite wants to admit that's about cheaper energy. Okay? If we don't move to renewable energy, put the environmental stuff aside if you don't agree with that. But if you talk about cost of living, we know the cheapest form of energy is renewable energy. Fossil fuel, gas, coal is becoming more unstable, reliable and volatile in terms of pricing, both for businesses and households. Renewable is the cheapest form of energy. The energy from the sun is for free. The wind blowing through the skies is free. If we can capture that and harness that into our energy grid, it is cheaper energy. But the Liberals always, and the Nationals, oppose these things. They oppose action on climate change. They oppose movement to renewable energy, and they oppose cheaper renewables. Because the member for Point Cook pointed this out a bit earlier. It's in the DNA of the Liberal National Coalition, going back however long you want to. They've always been against these things. I grew up in the 1990s when even then John Howard refused to sign and ratify the Kyoto Protocol. He refused. The recent federal election, they took a policy of nuclear reactors to the people, and the people overwhelmingly rejected it. And I just find it ironic that time and time again, whenever we move bills in this place that's about transitioning to renewable energy, which is a lot safer and a lot cleaner than nuclear technology, they would rather have nuclear reactors in their communities, the most dangerous and hazardous form of energy, which if they've seen Chernobyl, if they've seen Fukushima, right, then how could you want to have that in your community potentially? How? It is just shameful. And also, they're having a debate at the moment. They're tearing themselves apart as a party around net zero. At the federal level, we've seen the Nationals and the Liberals, they're going to war about rescinding their position in support of net zero. It's just remarkable. When they were last in government at the state level, they sold off and privatised the SEC, and if they got back into government again, they would sell it off again. And notwithstanding that, again, don't just take my word for it, Acting Speaker and fellow members here. I mean, the science and the politics of their position and their approach to this issue is very, very clear. As carbon emissions go down, and we drive down carbon emissions through our actions on this side of the House, the number of Liberal coalition MPs, particularly not just in the state, but more recently in the federal parliament, go down as well. The federal election result, as I said, just proved that. They're now down to a record low 43 seats of 150 seat a lower house in the federal parliament, only representing 28.7% of seats in the House of Reps. Labor, on the other hand, off the back of the election, now has 62% of the lower house seats. They lost the Liberals 15 seats, a 4.5% swing against them, a 7.3% reduction in the House of Representatives, and that's all off the back of campaigning against climate change, against renewable energy and in favour of nuclear reactors. Okay, so we've on the other hand, on this side of the House, the contrast couldn't be any starker through this bill that's before the chamber right now, but also all the other measures. I note that I've just crossed the 5-minute mark, and I just want to commend this bill to the House.